గుడ్ మార్నింగ్ స్టూడెంట్స్. నేను ఇవాళ ఒక కొత్త రకమైన టీచింగ్ ఎయిడ్స్ని ప్రారంభించబోతున్నాం. విష్ణు సార్ నేను. దీనివల్ల పిల్లలకి చాలా మంచి జరుగుతుందని ఆశిస్తున్నాం. మామూలుగా వచ్చి టీచర్ ఒక బ్లాక్ బోర్డ్ పైన ఏదో రాసేసి మాట్లాడుతూ ఉంటుంటే అందరికీ విజువలైజేషన్ రాదు. ఒక మంచి విజువలైజేషన్తో చెప్పే మ్యాటర్కి మామూలుగా చెప్పే మ్యాటర్కి చాలా డిఫరెన్స్ ఉంటుంది. చాలా ఈజీగా పిల్లలకి టాపిక్ అనేది రీచ్ అవుద్ది మైండ్లోకి. సో ఈ ప్రయత్నం సక్సెస్ఫుల్ అవుద్దని ఆశిస్తూ మొదలు పెడుతున్నాం. టు విష్ణు సార్.
So this is a new sort of trying from our side. We are starting this because we want to take the education level to higher,
to the next level.
So just we are starting with digitalization. Mainly we want a teacher guided classrooms. So for this one, we are starting the lesson with decimal fraction, just as a trailer. So this is about decimal fractions, and it is the syllabus of 5th class. So in this level, up to now we dealt with fractions. In 4th class and 3rd class also we can see fractions. About fractions, we should know something. What is fraction first of all? A fraction is nothing but it is a form of p by q, in which p is nothing but a numerator, q is nothing but it is a denominator, whereas the denominator should not be equal to 0, because if the denominator is 0, automatically the whole value will be infinity. So now, what is decimal? A decimal is nothing but it is a division quotient. The quotient in the sense whatever we are having the answer after the division. So here, for our example, if we are having 2 by 3, 2 by 3 will be equal to 0.9. 2.9. So in this 2.9, you can see that 2 is a whole number, whereas 0.9 is a decimal part which is attached to the whole number. But we can't call 2.9 as a whole number. So the decimal is a format which we get in unsolved or unsolved divisions. So here we are having in fractions. When we are coming to fractions, fractions have two types. One is proper fraction and improper fraction. Improper fraction. In proper fraction, the numerator will be less than the denominator, and in proper fraction, the denominator will be less than numerator. Whenever the numerator is less than denominator, the total quotient will be in whole part. Whereas in the improper fraction, the denominator is greater. As the denominator is greater, the value will not be equal to the whole number. It will be equal to the part of a decimal. The total answer or the quotient we call, it will be in a decimal part. In the sense we get a point. It is unsolved. It will carry forward all the answers. So now decimal fraction. Now itself we discussed about decimal and a fraction different. So now a decimal fraction. What is a decimal fraction? In the sense, first of all, just we will go to summarization. The first point in that is that we have place values. In place value, we are just considering tens. What is in the tens? The place value of a tens is 10, whereas the place value of 100 is 100. So the name individually indicates the value. But after, when we are coming to a decimal fraction, in the decimal part, after the decimal point, the number decimal number 2.3. So we will just see an example here. 2.3. In this 2.3, 2 is in the place of ones, and whereas 3 is in the place of tens. Up to now we didn't discuss about the place value of decimal numbers. So from this concept we will just discuss that the 2 is in the place of ones, as we know in the previous sections. But here after the decimal point it doesn't comes in a whole number. So this 3 will indicate another decimal place value. This will indicate a decimal place value, and that decimal place value just indicates that it is a part of whole. It is a part of a whole. Just we will see that. So come to decimal fractions, the whole one. Here in decimal fractions, on the right side of the decimal point, the first place is occupied by the tenth place value. But
I will show it.
okay. In the decimal fractions, on the right side of a decimal point, the first place is occupied by the 10th place value. So here just I discussed with you now. The thing is that after the point, whatever the place is occupied by the number, that number place value will be tens. So we should know what is the meaning of a tens, as it is a new one. The tens in the meaning, it is 1 by 10th part, 1 by 10. So it is a part of a 10 whole number. So now, if you will see what is a 1 by 10th part, if you are having a cake and that cake is distributed, it has to be distributed into 10 or 20 members. Let me take it as 20 members. In that 20 members, the cake will be segregated into 20 parts. In that 20 parts, if each and every piece is equal one, if the size of each and every cake piece is equal, then we can state that the part or the piece number or the piece value will be equal to 1 by 20 for each and every single cake piece. So here we are discussing about fractions, not decimals. Here, as we discussed that P by Q form, we are having a P by Q form here. 1 is a P and 10 is a Q form. As P by Q form, it is a fraction. But whenever we are dividing it, we will get another form. It will be converted into decimal. So we call it as a decimal fractions. As the decimal is converted into fraction, and it is completely discussing about the part of a whole. So here this place value means 10th place value means 1 by 10th part of a total whole. And we can also call this as a 1/10, 1-10th. This is the name in the words. Next, PPT. Some properties we should discuss in this one. First property, it is about 10th, just we discussed right now. 10th is nothing but it is a part of 10 divisions if you divide a whole into 10 parts. Just I discussed, if we are having a cake, in that if we make a 10 parts, the single part will be called as a 1 by 10th part according to the fractions. Another one, in this 10 parts, if we consider each part as equal, then the value for each part is counted as a fraction, that is 1 by 10 or 1/10. Okay. Now, if we are considering 2 parts or 3 parts or 4 parts, the number or the fraction will be counted as based on the number. If we are counting 2 parts, if we are taking 2 parts, it will be 2 by 10. If we are taking 3 parts, it will be 3 by 10. If we are taking 5 parts, it is 5 by 10. So whatever, it is a fractionate session. We are fractionating the total value based on the division of that whole. So as it is division into 10 parts, so we are considering that 3 by 10 is the value of 3 parts. And the writing of fraction into decimal number. And we know that a fraction can be decimalized. What is in the sense decimalized? In the sense we have to division. Whatever the number we are having, we call it as fraction. 1 by 10, 2 by 10, 3 by 10, 4 by 10. Those are fractions. But when we are taking into the conversion of that into a normal whole number, we can't get exact as a decimal, exact a whole number. In the sense, if a fraction is in a proper fraction, we can see here that improper fraction, we can see here that 1 by 10, in 1 by 10, 10 is the denominator and 10 is the highest denominator, as the value of, when compared to the numerator, the value of denominator is high. So we can't say that it is a total solved division. So in this one, we will get a decimal form. So in this decimal form, we will get the answer as 0.1 according to the division. So this is a conversion of a fraction into the decimal number. So here I want to show you something, how the total decimal parts or the decimal number are calculated based on their place values. You can see here 1,000 place, hundreds place, tens place, ones place, and after the decimal point on the right side we can have another number, and that number take place or occupies the place of tens. So here if we consider the starting point as 1,000, in that 1,000 we should know that each and every place value will contain 1 by 10 as a part of each and place value. So 1,000 is a starting point. Next, if we are going to that, if we are multiplying 1 by 10 into 1,000, that 1,000 will make us a new place value that is called as 100. So it is the division part. Why we are calling this as, because it is the total lesson is based on decimal fraction. So on simplification of 1 by 10 into 1,000, we will get 100, whereas 10th place, when we are coming to 10th place, 1 by 10 into 100, in the sense 1 by 10 and 100 is cancelled, so it is 10. And whereas once 1 by 10 into 10 is equal to 1. You can observe that the place value is decreasing when we are coming from left side to right side. First it is 1,000, then 100, then tens, ones. The level of zeros is decreasing one by one. But whereas when coming to 10th place, it is as a starting place of a decimal part, we are starting there once again. As we are starting there once again, the multiplication of 1 by 10 will be into 1. After that, it is 100. 1 by 10 into 10. Sorry, 100. After that, 1 by 10 into 1,000. Like that. So, up to now, we are discussing about 10th place. And the 10th place consists of a place value of 1 by 10. And we call it in a word 1/10. And in the place value, we will call it as 0.1 in decimal source.